Call this meeting to order. Jen, will you do roll call, please?
Tom McDonald,
Here.
Anita Matt,
Present.
Jennifer Finley, Jim Molitor,
Here.
Carol Langford, Len Tootie, Bing Matt, Ellie Bundy, Martin Charlo, Mike Dolson,
I'm here.
Present.
Steele Senior.
Sorry, I'm slow on my unmute. I'm present. Thanks.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Jen. We have a quorum. May I ask Len to lead us in a prayer this morning? Thank you, Len. Okay, we have our minutes from April 26th for your consideration.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Nita.
thank you. Abby, on the first page where Chairman McDonald reminded council of the EPA meeting at 3 tomorrow, and then Anita Matt reported that all the railroad cars were moved from Moe's to Dixon Agency on Monday, just to kind of clean that up. And on the very last page, where I thank the tribal land staff for all the work that they have done at the Dixon Agency. And on the very end of that, where I had talked about an individual that was trying to sell her undivided interest in 3014A, I'd like added at the end that Anita gave Mark the seller's name. Thank you.
Abby, just point of clarity in case there's confusion. Page 5, where it says the consensus of the council for the chairman to sign the memorandum of understanding with the Arley Powwow Committee. Go ahead, Nita.
I'd make the motion to approve the April 26th minutes with corrections.
Motion by Anita to approve the April 26th minutes with corrections. Second by Bing to approve the April 26th minutes with corrections. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, show of hands. Okay, the agenda we have this morning. Is there any additions to the agenda? I have 3 quick items, I guess. One walk-in, Mike, walk-in, okay. Any other items
I just have one thing I'd like to mention to council.
from yesterday? Okay, one for Anita. Any other changes to the agenda? Additions, I should say. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve today's agenda. Motion by Mike to approve the agenda. Second by Bing. Any further discussion? I mean, Jimmy, excuse me. Second by Jimmy. All those in favor, show of hands. It's one of those getting old kind of things, you know? Okay. With that, go ahead, Anita.
Mr. Chair, yesterday's appreciation event that we had up at the Quatucknuck, I just wanted to take and thank Jamie and Patty and Lisa for their hard work. Everyone who done the prayers. And of course, we had a good show of individuals, but it was really a great time. I thought that it's about time that council recognize their employees, because those people work hard and very seldom are they ever patted on the back. So it was a good time. So I wanted to recognize all those people and the staff and the comedian, and it was so good to laugh. Like I mentioned earlier, after 2 years, you don't get that where your gut's hurting from laughing. So that felt pretty good, but I'd just like to recognize them for that. And I have one other issue, but maybe that could come later with just council. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. I know that I thought it was a wonderful event, and I really appreciative to all the staff, all the executives that worked on it. And that, you know, other entities within our tribal umbrella showed up too. Really would like to do that. And I look forward to recognizing all the employees as we progress each month through the remainder of this year. I know they're going to try to hold community events in each community, but yeah, it was a great thing. And I know that most of the council could make it. Others had other commitments, but it was a great morning and afternoon. So want to thank them all. You bet. We had a request from the BIA to move the irrigation project discussion, operation with the staff of the FIP to the 20th of May, early in the morning from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. to try to get it to the point where Brian Mercier can attend. So he's coming over for the bison celebration. And so he was trying to move it so it would be in conflict with our powwow that day. So I said, yeah, that would probably work, given no other alternative.
Good idea,
Yeah. The other thing that came before me was a request for Tony Brown passed away. And he was a descendant of our tribe residing up in Canada, and his widow requested some assistance. And
Tony Brown?
yeah, go ahead. Oh, did you? Okay. Okay, super. Then erase that.
Tony Brown?
Yeah, Tony was just, boy, talk about some of the school events he did, and he just really was an ambassador out there, and just a wonderful person. Really I was surprised. I didn't know that he had passed. And oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. 52. Yeah. Yep. The other item came up with, I might have a call this afternoon. You know, part of the initiative out there is removing, you know, bad names on the landscape, whether it be Confederate names or names with the letter S in it. And so they're seeking that part of our landscape kind of to the south, south of us, southeast, southwest. There's a little bit of competition between using Salish names down that way and Shoshone-Bannock names. So so we're trying to work out a recipe to be able to do that. I mean, there's plenty of places and plenty of things that can be named. So we'll have a tentative conference call, myself and Tony Senior and Thompson Smith and another gentleman trying to figure out a strategy for that. So I wanted to give council an update on that particular issue. That was it. Yeah, we'll be changing them to indigenous names and native names, rather than, you know, General Jackson or, go ahead, Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I apologize. I was just hoping I could just add one quick little thing that was brought to my attention yesterday.
Go ahead. I think I'm done with my 3. Go ahead.
Yeah, I apologize. I wasn't trying to cut you off. So I had a call from a tribal member that lives here in Pablo, and her concern is that her granddaughter has been bit twice by essentially stray dogs that just kind of run. She lives down in kind of the Felsman addition. You know, being up here, I've seen the dogs. They're here. It seems like they've gotten worse. I know that that's part of COVID, where people got animals at the start of COVID, and then when they had to go back to work, you know, they just didn't either have the time or the ability to take care of them anymore. So I know, you know, the dog ordinance has been in the works for a long time, but I mean, I would hope we could be creative about this and maybe have, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't want to have an issue like I think they had on a different reservation where a pack of dogs, you know, unfortunately took the life of someone. And they're getting worse. And I'm not sure what other communities are, but for some reason, Pablo is the hub of dropping dogs off and just leaving them. So hopefully that's a discussion we can have. You know, I was even thinking about trying to get Fish and Game involved if possible, or something. I don't know. Like I said, we gotta be creative about this. So thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mike. I mean, thinking of Mike, we'll bring Mike out of retirement for that. No. Thank you, Martin. Okay, Mike, please come up. Good morning, sir.
Be Nasukin. I just got a brief couple of questions, I guess. Were you able to get a hold of the accountant? Jen? Okay. Okay. I guess first question I had, and that was mainly, I guess, for the accountant, was what I'm trying to get our in my mind here, what as a powwow committee do I have to work with as far as funding? One question.
Here they come right now.
Go ahead, Lynn.
One of the issues that came up, I know this came up with the Arlie Powell Committee also, was the annual allocation that occurs every year. And for 2021, at that time, since we did not take official action to increase the amount, we discussed it, we agreed, but we never took the action to do it until just recently to increase the amount to $60,000 to the Powell committees. So one of the questions that came up from both Powell committees is what happens with the 20 and 21 allocation, knowing that this money is budgeted every year. And since there was no powwows that year, are the powwow committees still accessible to that funding? And I was hoping we get that answer from our financial staff today. So, Greg?
Good morning. So to clarify, the question is what happens to the unexpended allocations from prior years that have been set aside for the powwow? So when the powwow or the celebration doesn't occur during that year, what happens to those funds that have been allocated? That's the specific question.
Yes, and if the powwow committees can still, if they're still available, can the powwow committees still use those funds?
I understand. So the short answer is that the allocations to the celebrations and the powwows are not cumulative. They are allocations within the budget that are in a, what, for lack of a better word, a use it or lose it type of expense. There is not a cumulative effect. So the allocation for the previous years are not cumulative in the budget.
Or Anita, sorry.
So my understanding, if I remember right, being that we weren't using them, they were to go into maintenance for that year. There was a whole bunch of repairs and stuff that needed to be done. So being that we didn't have the powwows, I thought that that money was to be slid in to do all them repairs that were needed, much needed on both ends. But maybe I fell down the stairs, I don't know, but.
You're absolutely right that the prior year's allocation have been allocated towards the repairs and upkeep or the improvements that are currently underway. I believe I'd have to check with Lisa, but my understanding as it pertains specifically to the Elmo facility is that there was some fencing that was put up and some repairs that were ongoing, and that those budgets from the prior year, that those funds were being redistributed towards those efforts. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so I guess my question there, is there any type of resolution or anything stating that we've come to the point of use it or lose it? And I guess I'm asking for both committees, if, you know, at what point is them powwow committees even notified that they have to use it or lose it? Or like she said, it's going to maintenance? How do we know that?
No, Mike, of course, I wasn't on council then, but all travel programs are funded that way, use it or lose it. That's the normal protocol. And hopefully, if the event, just like they stated, wasn't going to happen, you'd use the allocation that was appropriate that year to do other things related to the grounds and fixing it up.
So I guess a follow-up question then. 20 and 21, specifically, I guess 20 and 21, was all 40,000 for each powwow committee used then? Was that all used, or where does that show that on our budget?
Your budget's an annual budget. It's not a carryover budget. So it wouldn't show it. It would show what you expend, your budget, what you're in this fiscal year.
So I guess, was it all used?
That would be, yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Ruth and I will happily go pull the budgets and the expenditures from the prior 2 years from 20 and 21, and we'll happily provide that for you.
Mike, just so you know, just for your benefit, on Tuesday, the Arlie Powell Committee is setting up a nonprofit entity to raise funding that would be, on a separate note, that would be accumulative for fundraising. And that is a separate item that you could utilize that for helping to do annual costs or other things and getting private donations or, you know, other things for that kind of thing. Go ahead, Ruth.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Council. So correct, in fiscal 20, neither of the celebrations had any activity. So each, the allocation of 40,000 unspent. In 2021, both of the committees held abbreviated events. They received your approval to proceed and spend some of their money. I don't know the exact amounts. We'd have to pull those from the record. In 2022, each of the celebration grounds was allocated $100,000 in our facilities maintenance. That's what John Nice and his staff will use to address any of those grounds issues that the committees have identified. So that was in addressing your idea that what they didn't spend should be allocated to maintenance. So we then actually allocated more, would have only been 80,000. But this was based on the estimates that I was given. Lisa has told me that some of the issue with Elmo is not the lack of money, but because of either the availability of work to get done or the timing. That was the last report I received from her.
And then I guess additionally, we went from 40,000 to 60,000 for this fiscal year. So there was an increase of $20,000. So I guess there is more money available from the norm and pretty significant improvement or maintenance budget. Does that mean it's enough? Probably not, Mike. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, now I guess with the maintenance that's being done right now, we're doing a walkthrough again tomorrow. And I guess my Powell committee is pretty much a skeleton crew right now, just consisting of me and Bev right now. But the maintenance work that's being done now, is that coming out of the 60,000 then, or where's that? Okay. And I guess I'm just trying to wrap my mind about what, and I guess being able to, what our payouts are going to be now. And the workers and stuff, whether we up their pay or what. I think that was it then. So just trying to find out if there was any left over from the past couple of years. And that's been all, I guess, spent then.
Yeah, Mike, that's the protocols. It has to be reallocated. It's not carryover. We do have some outside funding sources, federal funding sources that do allow carryover, but hard tribal dollars is an annual appropriation. It's use or lose. But the good news is that you did get an increase of $20,000 for this year. And then the construction work that's going on is coming out of the $100,000 budget that wasn't there also in the past. So you have actually quite a bit of increases in what you're dealing with. And I guess I would recommend working with Ruth on the details of some of how you're going to spend your 60,000. That would be my advice. Go ahead, Ruth.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I would be happy to visit with Mike anytime on what both the unexpended and spent amounts were. It's my understanding that the 60,000 donation is for the committee to have the event. It's not intended to upkeep, repair, or replace anything on the properties because that is owned by the tribe. And the reason we have to do it that way is we're liable for anything that occurs there. So if there's hazards or safety, especially with electrical, I know that's issues at our league grounds. We as a tribe are going to be liable for that, for holding an event and something should occur. So we've shifted that away from the responsibility of the committees, but they do need to work with John and his staff to, look at those things that, first of all, are necessary for safety, and then I guess the desires or the wishes of what the committee would like. I know there's a great deal of beautification that should be done at Elmo. I myself have pondered why that facility was not better designed and executed for all the dollars that it took to build it. Arlie is 50, how old is it now? 50, almost 50 years old. It was built in 73. So it has been continually improved upon, but there's always something. So the needs are great. The council has, I think, made a good effort to allocate for those needs. The timing now is probably the issue, 2 months away. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mike.
And I guess, on Ruth's comment there too, as far as longevity of buildings, and I hope that we as a council body keep that in mind. She's exactly right. That comes back down to the architectural part of that, where the monies that were being used to actually build them grounds. The elders that are no longer with us were pretty outspoken about how that was going to be built. And exactly everything that they did say is now upon us today now with deterioration. So I guess, I just point that out along with structures in the future that we go through, whatever we might be building out there. Another prime example is our driveway up the resort. That had to be repaired. I think maybe looking at what kind of guarantees do we have when we go with these contractors? How long are you going to be involved with the structure that they put up? Are we going to get them to come back in to check out their work to see if it's still holding up, or what kind of repairs? I think that probably needs to be on a long-term base, being able to set up our contractors in a manner of follow-up, whether it's 10, 15 years down the road. But that was a pretty big damaged driveway. I guess that brings me to my questions that have been asked. And I guess one thing that I was a little dissatisfied with was, as we get closer to our powwow times and stuff, and I got a call from John. I specifically told him I wanted my powwow committee to be there when they did a walkthrough. That never did happen. I get a phone call from him saying, "Oh, we did our walkthrough." That ain't what I asked. I asked him to let us know so what little powwow committee that I do have would be there. And I knew that was going to happen exact the way it happened. So I finally just went to his office. I don't know about the water heaters. We asked for bigger water heaters in them buildings. His remark back to me was, "Oh yeah, we're going to replace them." Well, them water heaters are only about this big in each one of them. So that was basically telling me, yeah, we're going to replace them with the same thing again. I don't know that. That's why we wanted to do a walkthrough. They need bigger water tanks in there. That walkthrough never did happen. So I'm not too happy with Mr. Nice's.
Go ahead, Lynn.
I know, Mike, you've scheduled a walkthrough tomorrow. Is John going to be there also, or is it just going to be us and the committee?
Yeah, and I invite anybody that wants to. We're going to do that at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Basically just to see what's all being done and what we need to get done. But I invite council to come out and walk through. I think we'll probably have a little powwow meeting again tomorrow at the grounds, weather permitting. But invite council to come out if they can,
Okay.
or anybody else too.
Greg?
Sir, I'll make sure that your concerns are escalated to Lisa and so that the right director is informed of your concern and question, and make sure I'll follow up with her today to make sure that she's invited to that and has either John or a representative there. I'll make sure to communicate that today.
Thanks, Greg.
Something, but I know I'm thinking hard and I can't remember. What it was.
You need a bigger
I'll
committee,
let
Mike.
you off. I'll let you off the.
I'm gonna tell you that committee of two may not be a committee.
Alrighty, well, thank you guys.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you for your work as a committee member, as a lead. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Pink.
Mike, before you leave, Michael, before you leave, I'm going to let you know that I did talk with Lisa about the contractors that were able, that's going to be provided to do this work. And I talked to her about the contractors that has Indian preference. And she said that she's going to use whatever contractor she can get to get all this work done. So, you know that a lot of our Indian preference contractors don't have the manpower to do what you want to do. So she said that she's going to get anybody that she can to come in and get the work done at Elmo and Arlee. Arlee's got quite a bit of work to be done up there too. And I told her, well, there hasn't been a shovel full of dirt turned over yet. So you don't have much time, you know. So she said that she was gonna see what she could do to, you know, to help John, you know, get some work done over there. So I don't know where we're at.
Okay, I appreciate that. I guess here's what I wanted to ask. Since the stick game pavilion won't be, I'm positive it ain't gonna be usable for the powwow. Is there a possibility of council or accounting or wherever to help with the rental of a tent? We have a local out of Ronan that we wanted to look at, but I guess I'm trying to be careful with the 60,000. That's why I'm asking in this way here. Is there a possibility of having some kind of assistance along with that, as far as renting that tent for the stick game players?
Yeah, you know, Mike, we actually talked about that and we'll check with the departments. But yeah, I think, yeah, Dennis Gardner has the big event tents that you're talking about. He's the most reasonable. Possibility for us to assist with that, but I think we'll check with the departments to see if that's possible.
Okay.
But that is definitely a reasonable request.
Okay,
Absolutely.
because we do have, I just looked at it yesterday and there is a place out of Ronan. We were gonna check one more in Kalispell, but I'd rather just stay
Well,
local.
I could tell you right now, your Ronan one is the one to go to.
Yeah.
You could check other ones, but Dennis is the reasonable
Okay.
alternative.
I guess, will I be notified from somebody? Either way?
We'll have Len get a hold of you.
Okay, because I guess right now at this point, I'm just trying to be careful with the 60,000 and what I bump up or if I
Yeah,
bump
no,
up.
we talked about the stick game pavilion may not be usable and having to rent a temporary
Okay.
large shelter for that event as the alternative.
And I guess, you know, and the reason I'm trying to be careful because we are in the green so far with that, but me coming on board for the powwow committee where we were in the red. And the last powwow we had, we got out of the green and I kind of like to keep it that way.
We don't want you in the red either.
Yeah. All righty, thank you.
See you, Mike. All right. Next up, we have talking about being in the red. We have Monty Marengo. Come on up, Monty. Lift up, push the red button. The button right there.
Oh.
I'm gonna speak so I can hand it.
Okay, yeah, this will work. Hey, we have 5 special guests here. I've been working on for about 2 or 3 months. 3 of them I've never been here, and I told them it's the most beautiful reservation in the US. Now they agree with me. I told them, where else can you see? Clean air, fresh water, mountains, and 2 billion trees. So 3 of these guys, they're new here, and Michael Ray Richardson and Otis Birdsong been here before, and they just think this is so beautiful. So I'd just like to bring them up, well, maybe one at a time, or they could talk back there one at a time. They can introduce themselves, and I think I left posters for you guys, for those who don't come to the meet and greet dinner tomorrow night. I'm telling you, these guys are a pleasure. These guys are like teenage girls. They have more stories than an author. So anyway, we can start with, see who has the mic first? Right there. Oh, Otis Birdsong, he's the leader.
Welcome, Otis. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman. It's a pleasure to be here. This is my second trip to Montana, and to Monty's point, it is beautiful, gorgeous. Always love coming here, and appreciate you all supporting the events that we've done here since we've been here. And it's great to have my fellow competitors and friends here as well, and they're enjoying ourselves, but we want to just come and say hello and thank you all for your support, and thank Monty for allowing us to be here this morning, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mike Ray Richardson, and I am a former Montana Grizz. And
Hey, Michael, just for the record, I threw some potatoes on the basketball court when you were playing the Vandals one time.
hey, and I'm sure it was an ugly game up there because we used to beat them down.
It was a raunchous, ugly game, and it was the best game, one of the best games I ever watched.
Yes, but they had some great potatoes. I remember that. But it's a pleasure being here. This is like my second home. I was able to get my education here at the University of Montana, so it's always a pleasure of coming back. And we really appreciate what you guys have done for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael Ray.
Good morning. My name is Calvin Murphy. I played for the Houston Rockets for 14 years. And I guess my claim to fame is that I'm the shortest basketball Hall of Famer in the Naismith Hall of Fame. And I would have grown taller if I had come up here to this fine, clean air. I had no idea it was this beautiful until Monty invited me up here through Otis Birdsong. And I'd like to just say thank you for having me. And once you invite a Murphys to some places as beautiful as this, you can't get rid of them. That's your fault. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, committee. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for the invitation. My name is Artis Gilmore, and I am the biggest guy in this group. I played with my colleague and dear friend, George Gerben, for a couple of years. We had a really nice run, and I started off in the ABA. I played 5 years, and the leagues merged. And then I went to Chicago for 6.5 years, and I finished my career with the Boston Celtics. And I had 1 year, I took the last year out of 18 years playing professional basketball. We took my family and we went to Italy, and we experienced a new culture, just like being here. This is a wonderful environment, and we appreciate your invitation to invite us to be a part of a couple of days here. And thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, especially from the land of the vertically challenged. We can appreciate. Hopefully, we're glad that the ceiling's high today outside.
It is pretty big. Look at here. And I'm 6'8", so council, thank you. It's a beautiful place here. I always wanted to come to Montana. You know, I'm big in hunting and fishing, and you have all that here. You know, I played for San Antonio Spurs for 12 years. So that's where I kind of did in my professional career. What I do now, I do, you know, what you all do. I'm a community service advocate. I have 2 charter schools, one in Texas and one in Phoenix. Education for me means the world. I know you have a lot of young people that you support and take care of through, you know, through this community. How rewarding it is. We start talking about trophies. When you can save a life for a young kid, I don't think nothing greater. You know, that's kind of what I do. Build low-income apartments for low-income people in Texas. So I do what y'all do, and what a great thrill. So very proud to be here, to be a part of this program Monty created, and look forward to seeing a lot more people tomorrow, you know, at the event. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. You know, paying it forward like you guys all do, you know, staying out there as role models and leaders, especially for our youth, it's can't be overstated. And I know that some of you have been here before, and you've been part of our different youth camps and you know, other things, and that's just been absolutely wonderful. So anytime someone of your stature can come here and demonstrate to our youth, you know, and provide that, it's just absolutely wonderful. So it just whatever context it might be. So it's deeply appreciated, and you guys doing work exactly like that is just fantastic. It just can't be said enough. So thank you, Monty, for having these guys here.
Also, we're gonna have Otis wants to have a basketball camp clinic up here in July. So he wants to bring Michael Ray back and Spud Webb. So I have some information for a camp if you guys are interested in help sponsoring, because this does cost money to bring these people up here. And they're well worth it though. So I'm gonna pass that around and they can shake hands on the way out. And I hope you guys come to dinner. They have more stories than man, I don't think I've laughed so much in 2 days. These are interesting. You know, you got 200 years experience over here plus, and they have stories and they're interesting. They're entertaining, you know, and I believe all of them. So I'm kind of a sucker. So anyway, I'll pass these out on the way out, and they'll shake hands, and hopefully we see you at dinner.
Oh yeah, thank you, Monty. We'll be appreciative of the information. You know, we got some real serious fans up here on this panel. I got to tell you, some of us are pretty deep basketball fans. So go ahead, Nita.
I'd love to get a picture with them.
Oh yeah, Anita wanted to know if we could have a picture with y'all.
Yeah, there you go. Get the tall guys in the back. Right? Anita, get them front. Okay, you guys be stoic. Oh, Martin, you didn't. Oh, my God.
Not done yet.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're good. We're good. Yeah.
All right, Michael.
You hear us now, Abby?
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that, Abby. I think we let Monty get too close to the controls. No.
Do you want me to start over, or is what we okay to go forward, or?
I think we're okay to go. Yeah,
Okay.
when we get to that point, I think we're good. Any other questions for Corky?
This was also brought to Charlene to review already too. And there was just some editing thing that we had to do on it, so.
So it's gone through contracts and grants.
Yes,
So you're looking for a motion to approve your request
Right.
for funding for 5311 tribal transit funds from the Federal Transit Administration.
yes.
Motion by Jimmy, second by Anita. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in support, show of hands. Unanimous? Thank you, Corky.
Yep. And the new software,
One person out of the room, excuse me, Jennifer out of the room.
the new software we're getting is really going to be a good software. Actually, they can schedule their rides on with an app. So if you were tax savvy, you can get on there. We still have our dispatchers available for phone calls, people to call in. But they can, and actually Kalispell is already doing the software. It's called VIA. And the Blackfeet Nation's doing it. There's like 9 different transits in Montana so far that's gone with VIA. Our old company we just kind of lost support from them, technical support, and we just couldn't get anywhere with them. That's why we're going with the new software. But this software we'll be able to use on an app. So anybody could go in there and find out if they need a ride today, they could call us and pick out their time that they want to go. And if we have a driver in the Polson area at 11:15, we could pick them up and they can schedule their own ride. It's on availability. So right now we don't know. We're already doing that same day stuff. We just don't have an app for it yet. And so then when this goes into place, we'll have an app and it does a lot of the behind the scenes type of reporting for us. It'll keep all of our rides, our miles, all of that stuff in place. So when a reporting comes, you push a couple buttons and it prints out for you. So a lot of that stuff will be in front of us to be able to do that. So
Corky, in the future, are you looking to get any electric vehicles?
glad you brought that up. We have a grant due May 31st, and we have talked with our grant provider down Danetta. She's already been aware, so I'm working with her now on electric vehicles. The buses, they get 250 miles per charge. Our drivers do between 250 and 300 a day. The buses aren't quite where they need to be, but we are looking at some minivans and that type of going electric. And I don't know exactly where. I think the tribe had some charging stations coming up. I don't know where those are going to be at yet. We'll have to have some charging stations in different spots, and we just don't know where those are going to be at yet. I haven't been in the process, the planning part of that yet, but we are going to be applying this year for electric vehicles.
Super. I mean, that'd be really good. I mean, even if you had to switch buses and take another one for the second part of the day, that'd be appreciative. I know that would reduce your fuel costs tremendously. since we got our
Correct. And
electric rates here, and then our climate change course filter, that would help us.
we probably won't get the electric vehicles probably for a year down the road.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, that's where they're kind of at right now, but we are applying for the funding. Danetta's done a really good job for us. So and their FTA is really encouraging us, CSKT, to apply for these funds.
I think Missoula has electric buses.
They do,
so
they do. And
might-
those big buses are almost $1 million a piece. But they are happy with them and they're charging okay. It's just that they have to have a backup vehicle too. And they do a lot less miles than we do. And we got to really be careful with sending a bus to Camas Prairie or Hot Springs with no charging units over there. You just got to be careful. So then that's what we're looking out for. And I'm
Yeah.
getting more information, probably be the first part of next week on the electric vehicles and how far they actually can travel per charge.
Yeah, consideration is temperature too. So your winter driving would be,
Yes.
your backup vehicle might be necessary.
And also right now we are adding our bus barn area is being all enclosed. Actually, I think they're putting a tin on this week, and the garage doors will be put in on around June, first part of June. And then that building will be all enclosed, so all of our vehicles will be inside. And that was one of the areas that we wanted to make sure our vehicles, when we have electric vehicles, that they'll have charging units inside the building, and it'll be a lot warmer in there for them, so should help out a lot.
Super. Go ahead, Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Corky. You already have some hybrid vehicles, right? Some of your vans are hybrids?
Yes, we do. We have 6 Toyota hybrids now, and they're getting around 36 to 38 miles per gallon. So that has helped us a lot compared to 26 to 28 on a regular minivan. Our Ford Transits will hopefully be hybrids. That's coming this year that we've already applied for. So that was, but we are moving to that area. Just those electric buses just don't have enough miles yet. And, you know, probably maybe by next year, they'll be up to 300 miles per charge.
Thank you, Corky.
Okay, thank you.
Keep up the good work.
You guys too.
Okay, next we have Joe Durgle.
See you, Corky. Hesquex, Mr. Chairman, Tribal Council members. My presentation begins on page 18. We are in to request a non-competitive capital equipment purchase. We would like to add additional bins to the Arley Pharmacy kiosk. We are getting some good utilization down there. We have an opportunity to expand that service, so we want to add more bins to that particular kiosk. I have included the rate quote from that company that had provided the original bin. This is an add-on unit to that. We have the budget in one of our COVID-related funds, so that is the request, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, I'm not hearing you. I hope you heard me.
Yeah, can you hear me now, Joe?
There we go. Yes, sir. Got it.
Yeah, the non-competitive request was because it's that particular equipment, that's the only supplier is the original company.
Correct, correct. Yeah, it's an add-on unit to that existing equipment. So yeah, it's like a module I'll add on to that.
Thank you, Joe. Any other questions? Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe, do we have any information on how much savings you're having from the kiosk? And then you have what, one in Arley and one in Elmo?
And one in Polson also,
Okay.
Councilman Dolson. So I don't have cost savings. I do know Arley has been, I guess, the most active in uptake on using that kiosk. And it wasn't entirely driven by savings. I think we're trying to manage traffic into the pharmacy hubs. If you've been in those pharmacies, sometimes the lines can get stacked up. So early on in the process, we tried to divert some of that traffic, so we kind of spread it out, and that's kind of what the driving factor was, just less bodies in a constricted space, and that's why we pursued those kiosks.
Any other questions? Motion by Mike to approve the non-competitive capital equipment request for add-on to existing kiosks. Second by Bing. Any further discussion? Seeing none, show of hands, all those in favor? Unanimous?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, council members.
It's lemons, Joe.
Have a good rest of your day.
You too. 1.55 minutes. We'll start up soon, but we're going to start up in executive session.